There are these passages in the Bible that I find particularly fascinating. The weird ones, the seemingly obvious ones, the ones that don't have a lot of sense as to why they've been put there, or it just seems like really obvious. So why did somebody take the time to actually write these things down and put them in the Bible? That's the question that I find particularly interesting. Like why? Why did somebody take the time to write some of the verses that we find in the Bible and actually put them in there? Like why are they there? Passages like Proverbs chapter 17 verse 1, and it says, "Better a dry crust eaten in peace than a house filled with feasting and conflict." Better a dry crust eaten in peace than a house filled with feasting and conflict. Why take the time to write that verse? Well, there's reasons here, because it's actually referring to a bunch of different things that the original audience, when they heard this, they would have understood and been like, oh, gotcha. For example, when it says a dry crust, it's referring to a piece of bread without any butter, without anything to, well, make it not dry. So it's a piece of dry bread. And the text says it's better to eat this piece of dry bread, something simple, something plain, something with no extravagance, but to actually eat it in peace than to have a house filled with feasting and conflict. And it's interesting too, that use of the word peace, a piece of dry crust eaten in peace. Well, what this is referring to is way back early in the Old Testament, in the book of Leviticus, we get a bunch of different sacrifices. One of them is called the peace offering, or the shalom offering, right? When you would give this offering, the idea behind it is that you were signifying something simple, but yet really profound. You were signifying that you and God were at peace, that there are no crises between you and God, that you and God are good. But you would also make a declaration that you and the people around you are good. So this offering was used really intentionally. So what it's referring to when it says, better a dry crust eaten in peace than a house filled with feasting and conflict, it's trying to like play with some irony. It's trying to get you to understand that, hey, if you go and make a peace offering and then you have a massive amount of food and it's a feast and it's good and it's filled with meat and tastiness, like that's all well and good. But if you've missed the point of this sacrifice, which is to remember that you are at peace with God and you are at peace with others, then the whole thing is nonsensical. The other point of what it's saying is that often the simple things are the powerful things. That it's better to eat something simple and plain in peace than to eat something extravagant and amazing but have conflict around. The point this is trying to get at, and the wisdom behind this in the book of Proverbs, is it's trying to say to us that the acclamation of things, that better things around us, better quality things, doesn't necessarily mean a better quality of life. That often, and in fact, more often than not, it's the simple things, and when we're content with simplicity, it's in those moments where we find peace, not in the acclamation of things. So that, in part, is why that text is written. And I hope you find it interesting, and I hope it brings you peace. And until we talk again, stay safe, hold hope, and we'll talk soon.